When I met her, she was in some discomfort, but the diagnosis at the time was not clear, and so she was still in some pain even when she attended the Hiroshima commemoration. But it didn't deter her from doing what she felt had to be done, and so Kiniko was a real character, and she had a depth of character and strength of character that one doesn't come across very often. And so if I had a chance to see Kiniko, I would just express my admiration for her determination and her ability to carry on despite tremendous odds. And she served a great purpose.
Just the fact that she was able to speak about it and she was able to work for peace without being tainted by anger and bitterness, I think was just one of the most amazing things about her, that she could describe this experience, and yet she was so loving and unjudgmental of other people, and willing to listen to their perspectives and not have any sense of bitterness and sense of people like Kiniko and the things that she saw as so important, and just watching her face when you would see her with the children getting the lanterns ready, or watching the kids putting lanterns in the water. It was just such a wonderful thing. She was so happy to see this happening, and that was, I think, that's something that I'll just always have with me is the joy that she got from it, as well as it being a moving ceremony. It was just such a joy to her to see it happening, and to see the children decorating lanterns and the little flames out floating on the water.
Retirement's great. I would have liked to. Actually, I would have enjoyed
you would come up here, Kathleen. Stuart, there's chairs for you. You don't have to take them.
Thank you.
You're feeling a little tired. Anyways, people can see who are speaking. And Doc Shale, Doc, would you come up? Well, we know that it's a very busy day today. A lot of people that I talked to told me that they had other events, but that they would try to come if they could, and in return we promised that we wouldn't take a lot of your time. So we're going to try to do the right thing today in having an official unveiling of this piece of artwork that we have behind us, a significant piece of artwork. So first of all, I'd like to welcome you and thank you very much for coming today. My name is Bill Saunders. I'm the president of the Vancouver and District Labour Council, and we are the official sponsor of this art installation here in Seaforth Peace Park, because it seems as the appropriate location for something of this kind of significance. I don't know if many of you know, but among Canuco's many activities, Canuco was involved in the opening of this Peace Park when Mike Harcourt was the mayor of the city, and she in fact lit the flame in the peace flame at the end. So she has a very strong association to this park, to the issue of peace, etc. It seemed appropriate in that. Canuco has a very interesting history. I know some of you know her and know some of this history, but I'm going to just repeat some of it for those of you that don't. Canuco was a 16-year-old nurse that was living in Hiroshima at the time that the atomic bomb was dropped. She was working in a hospital at that time, and I think it was the construction of that building that actually saved her life, because she was within 1 kilometer of ground zero of that explosion. And she managed to survive, but she had some very serious injuries. And she experienced what you might imagine is, coming out of a building that might still be standing, although in a bit of a shambles, and to see what Hiroshima looked like after that explosion. Any of you that have seen the photos understand what I'm talking about. It was complete and total devastation, and there were terrible, terrible things for a young girl to see and experience during that time. That period of her life, I probably think, was probably one of the most of the worst periods of what anybody could ever experience. And for a long time, she didn't talk very much about it. I have read accounts later where she talked about what she did see, what she experienced, and it's a really horrible thing to read and to think about. We're not going to talk about that today. But eventually she did meet her husband. He was a Canadian soldier stationed in Japan. They got married, and they finally immigrated to Vancouver. So Canuco wound up here in 1954 as an Asian immigrant, a bride, and a new resident of the city of Vancouver. Not unlike what happens to very many people today. And that whole experience that she carried with her, what had happened with Hiroshima, and the particular experience of the survivors of Hiroshima, who were denied medical benefits and many, many other issues, she finally decided that she had to take up that struggle. She became an advocate for Hiroshima survivors. She was very instrumental in bringing them the health benefits that they had previously been denied, and ongoing care, because a lot of them required it. And there were a lot of serious hospitalizations and deaths among them people. But she also saw the horror of it, having experienced that. As you might imagine, somebody who had actually lived through something like this and saw what it did to family, friends, to their city, etc. And she became a very strong peace advocate. And that's where we actually start to connect with Canuco, because she becomes a spokesperson for disarmament. She becomes an activist and an educator in our local community. She did particular work in the schools, talking to young children about the experience of that. She also appeared in several films as a survivor, a spokesperson about Hiroshima, and she appeared, for example, in congressional panels in the United States around the issue of disarmament. This is a significant woman who made a very, very good contribution to our city, and it's that we are honoring today. Finally, and we are here today to do this unveiling. So we have a few people. Before we let you see it, I know some of you have snuck in early because you knew that it was being worked on. A lot of people have told me they've already been down here to look at it. But all that aside, this is the official launch. And before we do unveil it officially, we would like to have a few people that were very instrumental, very important to this project to come forward and speak. So first I'd like to introduce Stuart McKinnon. Stuart is is the Parks Board Commissioner. He's a friend of the Labour Council. We actually endorsed him for that position. I appreciate that. And he's here today on behalf as the representative of the Vancouver Parks Board to speak to this installation. Stuart.
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Seaforth Peace Park on behalf of my fellow commissioners. My name is Stuart McKinnon. As Bill said, I'm one of 7 elected commissioners of the Vancouver Board of Parks and Recreation. I am truly honored to be here today. Kanuka was a Vancouver citizen. She was also a Hiroshima survivor. As a young woman, she met a Canadian soldier. She fell in love. They married and moved to Vancouver, where Kanuka began her lifelong work as a peace and disarmament educator and activist. For me, that's one of the most significant things about this, that out of the horror of that time, we saw a couple come together in love. And were able to come and share that love with all of us here in Vancouver. And this is a lasting legacy of their love. We are pleased to join you all today in celebrating the installation of this important memorial to Kanuka and to the many people who work for world peace. This memorial is a welcome addition to the collection of artworks found throughout the city, works which form a vibrant and exciting aspect of our cultural landscape and which remind us all of the values that we share.
"59 years ago, my service overseas included 2.5 years in Japan. It was there, in Hiroshima, that I met my late beloved wife, Kinuko. I thank God we were able to make a home, to raise our beautiful daughter Nanami, and to have shared 53 precious years of love and happiness together. I feel humble and proud of Kinuko. She successfully faced the adversities of being a Hiroshima survivor, a Japanese war bride, and those of an interracial marriage, all with an exuberance of warmth and love. It has been a privilege and an honor for me to participate in her work for peace with others, her efforts to end the use of war, and for the elimination of nuclear weapons. Kinuko was always outspoken and went quickly to the truth of matters. She used to often say, "Bombs only destroy the things we love and teach us to hate. They cannot build us peace or love." We must face our responsibility to future generations. Simply what is right and what is wrong. That love and understanding is the only way to make this world a better place to live. Kinuko's wishes were for everyone to have happiness and long life. I wish to give thanks to the sculptor Keith Shields, to the dedicated work of his brother Duncan Shields, to everyone gathered here today. We must awaken that power of peace that is buried deep within the depths of each individual, as this power can transform and change even the most intractable reality. Thank you very much.
It's unfortunate. Our original plan was to have the sculptor Keith Shields actually supervise this installation, but Keith got cancer and moisture and passed away before he was able to see this realized. It's a sad part of this situation because I think he would have been very, very proud to see what's been accomplished here. So we miss him. Next, I'd like to ask a representative of the peace movement to speak because this is a lot about the whole issue of peace and this being Peace Park and this close association. So I'd like to ask Kathleen Wallace-Deering. She's a representative